staff is not allowed. Speakers should be courteous in their choice of words, and actions and comments shall be limited to the issue and cannot involve individuals or staff-related matters. All cell phones and electronic devices used for communication should be silenced for the duration of the meeting. I'd like to call the meeting of the Terrebonne Parish Budget and Finance Committee to order. We'll have an invocation by Mr. Carl Harding and a pledge of allegiance by yours truly.
Heavenly Father, as this great day that we see today, oh God, we have the concerns of the world, oh God. We're praying, oh God, for world peace, whatever side that's actually having the loss of lives and some disadvantages and some have advantages, oh God. We pray for peace in Ukraine and in the east, oh God. We ask on this day, as the weather comes about in our area, that all the citizens of Terrebonne Parish be safe and abide by all the rules and regulations. And then most importantly, oh God, my colleagues that are sitting up here, bless them and their families, oh God, as we travel to and for from our homes from this place. And we ask this in your darling son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Ms. Charlie. Can we get a roll call?
Mr. Trosclair, Mr. Pledger,
Here.
Mr. Harding, Mr. Voisin, Mr. Amity, Mr. Champagne,
Here.
Mr. Hamner,
Here.
Mr. Babin, Ms. Chauvin. Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum present.
Thank you, Ms. Charlie. Item number 1, resolution authorizing the parish president to renew and execute a contractual agreement for professional medical services between the Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government and Haydell Family Practice, a professional medical cooperation for medical services to be rendered to the Terrebonne Parish Juvenile Justice Complex, TPJJC, as the facility's physicians. Moved by Mr. Danny Babin, second by Mr. Champagne. Seeing no lights, members vote your machines. Votes 9-0, motion passes. Item number 2, concurring with the parish administration to reject the bid received for the bid number 24-HVAC-05 HVAC repairs for animal shelter and receive authorization to re-advertise. Moved by Mr. Danny Babin, second by Ms. Kim Chauvin. Seeing Mr. Steve Trosclair.
Yeah, quick question. I know we rejected the bid because it was over budget. What are we doing to try to get another bid that comes within our budget?
Ms. Candace?
Yes, sir. So we're going back to the drawing board to see if there was anything within the project scope or the scope of work that could be cut that'll allow it to be part of the budget. And if not, we'll have to try to find some funding to add to it to be able to go back if it comes in more.
Thanks, Ms. Candace. Members, vote your machines. Votes 9-0, motion passes. Item number 3, concurring with the parish administration to award the request for proposal number 24-MOSQ-09 Mosquito Control Program to Mosquito Control Services, LLC, a vector disease control international company, and authorizing the parish president and/or his designee to execute the contract and to provide for related matters. Moved by Ms. Kim Chauvin, second by Mr. John Amity. Seeing no lights, members vote your machines. The vote's 9-0, motion passes. Item number 4, concurring with recommendation of the parish president to award bid number 22-S/P-92, rebid surplus sale of adjudicated property located at 333 South Van Avenue, 100% to Edward Davis Jr. Move Mr. Carl Harding, second Mr. John Amity. Ms. Kim Chauvin.
Yeah, one of the things that I'm seeing with the sale of property, and we just had one happen, is that I've already had to turn it into nuisance abatement. And so I think I had gotten with Miss Michelle, and we had discussed that it could be, maybe you can go ahead and explain that, but that was one of the things that I wanted them to understand, that we could put in those sales.
Ms. Michelle?
Yes, ma'am. So we did do the research and that legal opinion may have made its way out to you. So there is a possibility to put some provisions in the ordinances when we surplus these properties to make the buyers responsible to comply with the nuisance abatement laws and to keep up their properties, or risk losing the property to recapture by the Terrebonne Parish government. That did not make it into this round of bids, but we can certainly make sure it makes it into the next round of ordinances to surplus additional properties.
Okay, so my question would be, is this a possibility to hold this over until then? Is it a possibility to hold this? I don't want to put more stuff on nuisance and abatement, and I've already had to do this by one of the sales, and it just rubs me raw to have
So
to sell
these,
stuff to people that are not gonna take care of it.
these I don't recommend making subject to that. And because these were surplused by ordinances that were passed already, they were already put up for bid subject to those ordinances. And to now make these purchases subject to new, basically new law, would kind of be backtracking on these properties. So I don't recommend doing that for these properties. But going forward, there should be language included in ordinances going forward.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Ms. Neal, Ms. Chauvin, Mr. Hardy.
Ms. Neal, but then again, as we go about our business in Terrebonne Parish, you know, what I mean, if it's a lot that's the house been demolition, or it might be a piece of land, it automatically comes under all the regulations that we have as a government, wouldn't it? So we would have to, in some cases, we've actually had properties that were sold, or some pieces of property that were in nuisance and abatement, and we actually held off because the possibility of a sale. But then that would just generate another case by nuisance and abatement.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Only by report, just the way the system is working.
Right, by report or by one of the employees in nuisance abatement out and about, seeing that one needs to be addressed as well.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Neal. Again, Mr. Hardy, you're good.
Yeah, good.
Members, vote your machine. Oh, I didn't, it's not up here on. Mr. Babin?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, but Carly, I think what Kim is talking about is adding it in by ordinance. Kim, you might want to, because I'm gonna make a recommendation to you. What you want to do is you want to put this in an ordinance that says if they don't keep it up, then it reverts back to the parish for us to resell it again. Well, if we do that, I mean, you need to put that in the form of an ordinance with her so it can come here, then it has to be held over because we're changing law by doing that. So I think that's probably why you didn't want to do it in this particular one here, because the process takes a
It's
little
in the
bit of time,
works.
you know. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
Ms. Chauvin?
It just took a while to get, and there was so much, I'm sure, that the office was working on, because there's been a lot. But I probably didn't get it in time that I would have needed to, and my email has not been the greatest. And we've had some glitches and stuff, and you know, it's been worked on too. So I do understand that it needs to be done that way. Thanks, appreciate it.
Thanks, Ms. Chauvin. Members, vote your machines. Votes 8-1, motion passes. Item number 5, concurring with recommendation of the parish president to award bid number 22-S/P-94 rebid surplus sale of adjudicated property located at 7406 Shrimpers Row, 100% to Ty Williams. Moved by Mr. Danny Babin, second by Mr. Carl Harding. Seeing no lights, members vote your machines. The vote is 8-0, one abstention, motion passes. Item number 6, concurring with the recommendation of Parish President to award bid number 23-SP-55 surplus sale of adjudicated property located at 417 Roselawn Avenue, 100% to Tamaniki Francois. Moved by Mr. Carl Harding, second by Mr. John Amity. Seeing no lights, members, vote your machines. Votes 8-0 with one abstention. Motion passes. Item number 7, concurring with recommendations of the Parish President to award bid number 23-S/P-58 surplus sale of adjudicated property located at 208 Rosemary Avenue, 100% to Earl Hartman. Moved by Mr. Carl Harding. Second by Mr. Steve Trusclair. Seeing no lights, members, vote your machines. The vote's 8-0, one abstention. Motion passes. Item number 8, concurring with recommendation of the Parish President to award bid number 23-S/P-59 surplus sale of adjudicated property located at 208A Rosemary Avenue, 100% to Tamaniki Francois. Moved by Mr. John Amity, second by Mr. Carl Harding. Seeing no lights, members, vote your machines. The vote's 8-0 with one abstention. Motion passes. Item number 9, concurring with the recommendation of the Parish President to award bid number 23-S/P-61 surplus sale of adjudicated property located at 108 Smith Lane, 100% to Diana Collins. Moved by Mr. Carl Harding, second by Mr. John Amity. Seeing no lights, members, vote your machines. The vote's 8-0 with one abstention. Motion passes. Item number 10, concurring with the recommendation of the Parish President to award bid number 23-S/P-69 surplus sale of adjudicated property located at 124 Price Street, 100% to Tyler Bussey. Moved by Mr. John Amity, second by Mr. Carl Harding. Seeing no lights, members, vote your machines. The vote's 8-0, one abstention, motion passes. Item number 11, concurring with the recommendation of the Parish President to award bid number 23-S/P-73 surplus sale of adjudicated property located at 7164 Grand Caillou Road, 100% to Roy Pennington. Moved by Mr. Daniel Babin. Second by Mr. Kevin Champon. Seeing no lights, members, vote your machines. Votes 8-0 with one abstention. Item number 12, concurring with the recommendation of Parish President to award bid number 23-S/P-74 surplus sale of adjudicated property located at 134 B Samuel Street, 100% to Edward Davis Jr. Moved by Mr. Carl Harding, second by Mr. Steve Trosclair. Seeing no lights, members, vote your machines. Votes 8-0 with one abstention. Motion passes. Item number 13, concurring with the recommendation of the Parish President to award bid number 23-S/P-82 surplus sale of adjudicated property located at Bayou Ponachans Waterway, 100% to Ponachans Indian Tribe. Moved by Mr. Steve Trosclair. Second by Mr. Carl Harding. Seeing no lights, members, vote your machines. The vote's 8-0 with one abstention. Motion passes. Item number 14, concurring with Parish Administration to award the request for proposal received for the transportation of solid waste to WB Company Incorporated and authorizing the Parish President and/or his designee to execute all contracts, documents associated herewith. Moved by Mr. Carl Harding, second by Ms. Kim Chauvin. Seeing no lights, members, vote your machines. Votes 9-0, motion passes. Item number 15, resolution accepting and approving the Louisiana Compliance Questionnaire as required for the 2023 audited financial reports. Moved by Mr. Steve Trosclair, second by Mr. Carl Harding. Seeing no lights, members vote your machines. The vote's 9-0, motion passes. Item number 16, awarding request for bids, RFBS, received for Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government System-wide repairs rebid due to the damage from Hurricane Ida to Line Tech Services LLC, and authorizing the parish president and/or his designee to execute the contract and to provide for related matters. Move Mr. Daniel Babin. Second by Mr. Kevin Champon. Have light by Mr. Carl Harding.
Yeah, no transition, and this is going to Red Stick, or who's it going to? Lion Tech? Okay, then. All right, I just want to know 2.172128, right? Amount of money. Thank you.
Mr. Harding. Members vote your machines. Votes 9-0, motion passes. Item number 16, awarding the request, 17, I'm sorry. Item number 17, awarding the request for bids, RFBS, received for Hurricane Ida repairs, Mayfield Bridges 1 and 2, bank line stabilization to Southern Constructors LLC, and authorizing the parish president and/or his designee to execute the contract and to provide for related matters. Move Mr. Daniel Babin. Second, Ms. Kim Chauvin. Seeing no lights, members, vote your machines. Votes 8-0, motion passes. Item number 18, concurring with parish administration approving the state contract purchase of 2 trucks for the Utilities Gas Distribution Division from Terrebonne Motor Company. Move Mr. Daniel Babin. Second, Mr. Carl Harding. Mr. Daniel Babin.
Yeah, just a question, Candace, was on the state contract, was this a low bid or did they match the low bid to get this one? Okay, because I mean, there's 2 ways they can go about it, correct, as we spoke about the last time? Okay, just if you just let me know later, that's fine.
Thank you, Mr. Babin, Ms. Candace. Item, members vote your machines. Votes 9-0, motion passes. Item number 19, authorizing the parish president to execute a cooperative agreement with LSU Ag Center Cooperative Extension Service of Terrebonne Parish to provide cooperative extension services for parish residents.
So move.
Move Mr. Clyde Hamner. Second, Mr. Carl Harding. Ms. Kim Chauvin.
I have a few questions. Do you have anybody from the LSU Ag? Okay. Hey. Just wondering if you have a list of like things that you could get to me that you do, so just so that we could kind of get it out to, the parish and maybe even have them utilize it more. The other question that I had was, I see it's like a 68K and there's a requirement. Is it our requirement for a master's degree or is it LSU's? Okay. All right. No
Ma-
problem. That's what I was.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Oh.
And can you state your name and address for the record, please, ma'am?
Cherie Roger, 354 Bayou Blue Road.
Thank you.
Okay. And the list is just so that we can maybe utilize it more, like get it out to people, have them understand what LSU Ag does. I mean, I know a little bit, but there's a lot of people that could probably use it and don't know.
Yeah, we have that already done, and
Okay.
we did share it with the council, so I'll make sure that you get that.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Ms. Chauvin. Thank you, ma'am.
All right.
Good.
Members, vote your machines. Votes 9-0, motion passes. Item number 20, authorizing the parish president, Jason W. Bazran, to sign a contract on behalf of the Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government with VNF Solutions for consulting, lobbying, and federal representational services, all as more fully set forth herein below. Move Ms. Kim Chauvin, second Mr. Clyde Hamner, Mr. Carl Harding.
Ms. Candace, you have a ceiling of $90,000, but this is only a 6-month contract, correct? So we're leaving a little more margin for that. Okay.
6 months.
Ms. Kent,
Sorry, you got me.
You good? You good, Mr. Harding?
Yeah, just want to know it's budgeted $90,000, but then the contract ends up being $11,000 a month for 6 months. So you got a little room. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Harding. Mr. Trustclair.
Yes, thank you. Candace, question, on the fees and billing, okay? It shows that we have, 11,000 a month for initial term of 6 months. And then the last paragraph, last sentence of that same paragraph, it says, the agreement may be extended beyond the initial 1-year period. So I'm kind of questioning 6 months and 1 year.
Ms. Candace?
It's a typo.
Okay,
Should be
No
6
problem.
months.
no, it should be
Sorry.
6 months on that one too. Okay, thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
Thank you, Ms. Candace. Mr. Trustclair, that's it?
That's it, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Members, vote your machines. The vote's 9-0. Motion passes. Item number 20. Sorry, Mr. Trustclair? Mr. Trustclair?
You gonna get it corrected in the deal? Okay, thanks.
Thank you, sir. Item number 21. Consider the introduction of an ordinance to appropriate funds relative to and adopt the operating and capital budgets for the Terrebonne Parish Council on Aging Incorporated and calling a public hearing on said matter on Wednesday, May 29th, 2024 at 6:30 PM. Mr. Daniel Babb, moved by Mr. Daniel Babb and second by Mr. Clyde Hamner. Seeing the lights, members, vote your machines. Votes 9-0, motion passes. And I apologize, I want to recognize our past parish president, Mr. Claude. He's out here in the audience tonight. Former parish president, Mr. Claude. I'm sorry, guys. You good? All right. Absolutely. Thanks. Gotcha. Time well spent. Thank you. Ms. Candace?
I do have an answer for Mr. Babin, if we could go back to that one real quick. Or do
Yeah,
you
I
wanna
guess we can
a-
do that without a motion. Yeah, we can just answer that question.
They had the 2 trucks on the lot at Terrebonne Ford and they matched the state contract price.
I mean, there's 2 ways.
Daniel Babin?
There's 2 ways, as you explained to us not too long ago. State contract gets the lowest bid, but a local dealership can match the state contract
Yes,
or
sir.
match the bid of someone who may have had it in New Orleans.
Yes, sir.
Good, thank you.
Thanks, Ms. Candace, for clearing that up. And also, I just want to add that I did notice I think it was a great job by Fleet Maintenance, who was actually went out there by chance and just happened to have a couple trucks on the lot. So great job for those guys. All right. Members, no, we're good. Item number 22, consider the introduction of an ordinance to amend the 2024 adopted operating budget and 5-year capital outlay budget of the Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government for the following items and to provide for related matters. Item number 1, Solid Waste Department, $14,698. Item number 2, Upper DeLarge Levy, $196,000. Item number 3, Government Tower Generator Program, $25,129. Item number 4, Civic Center, $15,893. Item number 5, Houma Police Department, LCLE Grant, $75,933. Item number 6, Houma Police Department, LCLE Grant, $118,439. Item number 7, General Fund Office of Emergency Preparedness, 2024 Cities Readiness Initiative, $23,839. Item number 8, East Houma / East Park Walking Trails, $29,463. Item number 9, Civic Center Boulevard at Valhalla Boulevard Roundabout, $46,348. Item number 10, General Fund Government Tower Chillers, $121,267. Item number 11, Parish Prisoners Fund Chillers, $135,679. Item number 12, Rotary Plaza, $12,500. And calling a public hearing on said matter on May 29th at 6:30 PM. Have a couple of lights. Moved by Mr. Steve Trosclair. Second by Mr. John Amady. Have a couple of lights. Ms. Kim Chauvin.
Yeah, I had a question on the East Homa, walking trails. We're taking 29,000 away from it?
Ms. Candace.
Yes, ma'am, we are, because that project, that scope of work for that particular funding that was available from DOTD has been completed.
And where's the walking track located? Is that the one on the airbase?
I don't have that answer, but I can find out for you
Okay.
exactly where it was.
And I'm just wondering, because that's it. We have some broken cement there that would definitely need to be fixed. And so I'm kind of wondering, do we?
So it obviously is not part of the same scope of work because we've deobligated it. The DOTD has completed it, but I will find out for sure exactly where that was.
Okay. All right.
Thank you, Ms. Kim Chauvin. Mr. Carl Harding.
Ms. Candace, I see that the Rotary Plaza has 12,500. Actually, item number 12, it didn't state what it was for. It was 12, 11, 5, and 1, and 1,000. It's not where the money is coming from. It's where it's being done.
Ms. Candace.
Yes, sir, Mr. Harding. So that is, we had one final invoice from the architect, and we had some of the metal railing that was put up at the end that we had to account for.
And that was the extra we asked for earlier in the year. Yeah, okay.
We did. It was somehow it kind of slipped through the cracks.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Candace. Mr. Harding. Mr. Daniel Babin.
Mr. Chairman, yeah, Candace, the only other two, the negatives on the upper Dulorge levy and the government towers generator program, that's also negatives. That's not additions to
Correct.
the budget.
Those are also completed.
Correct.
The government chillers, we're moving that money to pay for some of the rental that we have.
And the upper Dulorge levy money, that was Office of Administrations, I think that came
It
from.
was, and that project, the scope of work has been
Correct.
completed, and it's significantly less because we had originally started that project with some American Rescue Plan money.
Right,
So we didn't need as much as what the state had given us.
good, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Babin. And just for the record, there were two misrepresentations by myself on calling out of the 12, number 2, Upper Dulorge levy, which was minus $196,000. Also, government, item number 3, Government Tower Generator Program, minus $25,129. And also number 8, East Homa, East Park Walking Trails, $29,463. Thank you for that, Mr. Babin, Ms. Candace. Now, I have a question as well from the chair. Ms. Candace, in regards to number 5, Homa Police Department LCLE grant in the amount of $75,933. I noticed in the backup it said a SANE coordinator. What exactly does a SANE coordinator do? And I understand there's some nurses involved in that. And go ahead.
So as far as I understand, and I don't want to speak out of character for the police department, but it is all related to sexually assault victims. So when they're at the hospital, there is a specific nurse that is assigned and trained to deal with those type of victims.
Okay. And also dropping down to the next one, number 6, the Homa Police Department LCLE grant in the amount of $118,439. It seems like they're going to be using the Haven as a more of a consultants for this program or operation that they have going on with that's all one and the same?
It's all kind of the same thing,
Item.
part of that program, to give them, those victims, those resources that they need.
All right, thank you. Members, vote your machines. Thank you, Ms. Candace. Votes 8-0, motion passes. Item number 23, consider the introduction of an ordinance to authorize the parish president to execute on behalf of Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government, TPCG, a lease of commercial space between TPCG and Hub International Midwest Limited to lease space in the Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government-owned building at 7910 Main Street, Houma, Louisiana, 70360, and call for a public hearing on Wednesday, May 29th, 2024 at 6:30 PM. All right. Moved by Ms. Kim Chauvin, second by Mr. Danny Babin. Seeing no lights, members vote your machines. The vote's 9-0. Motion to adjourn, Mr. Carl Harding, second, Ms. Kim Chauvin. Members vote your machines. Votes 9-0. Good evening.
Yeah, they got some teas, man. All right, let's get this moving here. I'd like to call the Terrebonne Parish Council Public Service Committee to order. Notice to the public, if you wish to address the council, please complete the public wishing to address the council form located on either end of the counter, and give it to either the chairman or the council clerk prior to the beginning of the meeting. All comments must be addressed to the council as a whole. Addressing individual council members or staff is not allowed. Speakers should be courteous in their choice of words and actions, and comments shall be limited to the issues and cannot involve individuals or staff-related matters. Thank you. All cell phones and electronic devices used for communication should be silenced for the duration of the meeting. I'd like to call the meeting of the Public Service Committee on May 13th, 2024 to order. We have an invocation and a pledge by Mr. Kevin Champagne. Please rise. Kevin.
Heavenly Father, we come to you today asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting. Help us to engage in a meaningful discussion, allow us to grow closer as a group, and nurture the bonds of community. Fill us with your grace, Lord God, as we make decisions that might affect the residents of Terrebonne Parish. We ask these things in your name. Amen. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thanks, everyone. Ms. Charlie, could we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Trustclair, Mr. Pledger, Mr. Harding, Mr. Voisin, Mr. Amity, Mr. Champagne, Mr. Hamner, Mr. Babin,
Here.
Ms. Chauvin. Mr. Chairman, we have a quorum present.
Thank you, Ms. Charlie. Item 1, discussion and possible action regarding the progress and/or status of the Mount Pilgrim project. Mr. Harding, press you. Give me a speaker light. There you go.
All right, and actually, I have some information. I've been up here in my second term, and there's always been concerns in reference to flooding, and I probably by now this is the first time that I got as much information on this particular project, the Mount Pilgrim project. It's stated to be parish project number 908 DRA 11, and I've been talking to several people within the Mount Pilgrim area. If no one knows, it's in Gibson on North by Black, between the Hans Canal and the Greenwood Bridge, closer to the Greenwood Bridge on the blacktop side. And when people say flooding, and we look at flooding, oftentimes we think of flooding in homes. But those folk that are out there, they actually still are having problems with water that's not in their yards, and there's intrusion. And I've been doing a little research on it, so this is what I come up with. First of all, I found that $1.8 million was actually allocated to this particular project. About $400,000 was actually used in permits and in engineering fees. There's presently 1.4 and $1,400,203 been sitting there. This project started in 2001. We're in 2024. And there's always been a concern of why. So we went through the project, and I got something from T. Baker Smith through, which was sent to Mr. David Rome. And with that project, they've actually done their due diligence. And what we ran into was that it cost too much. And we built the Hanson Canal pump station and the Elliott Jones pump station. I looked at it, and I was at awe when I found $1.4 million been sitting there for that long. So how we do this? I mean, make a phone call to Mr. Rome, and the parish president, had a meeting, talked to Jeannie in engineering, got this letter. This is my take. Citizens in Terrebonne Parish, well, my district, citizens in Terrebonne Parish, the state of Louisiana. That's too much money to be sitting in one place just for 20 years. So my thing that I actually sat down and spoke with the parish president, Mr. Jason Bergeron, what we're trying to do to actually look at how to retain that money here because it was allocated. Evidently, the state don't miss it. DOT doesn't miss it because it's been sitting there for 20 years. Okay, and what we're going to try to do for the people in that area is actually lobby for that money to stay here and get it reallocated. Whatever way that we can actually find out how to use that money here. If DOTD wants to put it back over here, we cutting medium grounds for them. We doing that. So, you know what I mean? If they want to actually pay for that, you know what I mean? That's a possibility we can get them to pay for that, you know what I mean? But it's sitting there. So I wanted to bring this up and just bring it out to the people that are out there. We're working on this particular project. It's a possibility we got to make distinction whether we actually help out with some ditches that may be classified lateral ditches. It might be some money that we have to add on to it. And of course, we're coming up with a bunch of money sometime soon, and drainage is part of it. So if we can retain some of this, well, the $1.4 million here for the citizens, and well, we take it. But we need to do something with the money, not just for the people in my district in the Gibson area, people in Terrebonne Parish in the state of Louisiana. That's a lot of money sitting down without getting any interest for 20 years. I wish I had $1.4 million sitting down for Mr. For 20 years. I would actually yield to Mr. Levet right now.
He's got his light on.
Mhm, yeah,
We're just going to turn yours off a second. Just,
Okay.
Mr. Levet?
I just want to say that the funding source comes from statewide flood control, not DOTD. And another thing about why it didn't go through is that they didn't get complete landowner approval for that levee, that reach of levee they wanted to build. It does have to be a drainage project. I confirmed that with Mr. Rome today. That if it does get reallocated, it has to be a drainage project with statewide flood control. And I think when they refigured that, the cost of that project ended up being about $8 million, a lot more than the original allocation. And we've seen this before with other projects, allocated funds, allocated a long time ago, like Bayou Terrebonne dredging is one. Sat there for a long time with really no way going forward. Looked at reworking it, looking at how we can do it, and we're able to move the ball a little bit. So if there's a way to spend that money, because like you, I don't want to see millions of dollars just sit there not getting used. We could put it to public benefit, but it's got to be a drainage project with statewide flood control.
Put your light back on.
Yeah, and that's what and my initial conversation I had with David Rome is the fact that if we can actually, because it states that it has to be forced drainage. And if we can just actually change the wording, it's just say drainage. So then we actually open up the opportunity for us to actually to do more with it, because forced drainage is actually is dealing with something mechanical. So if we can actually do a gravity type thing to assist, because the problem that they're having, those pumps on Hanson and Elliott Jones, they pump it from this end, but then they are in between that. So if they are in between that, they're not pumping all the water out, and it creates well, land, they're losing land. The other thing about that, when water is setting there, it's creating a mosquito problem. So you know, what I mean, whatever we can figure out, I just want to bring that to attention. I want to let the people know that's there, even with the assistance. There should have been more assistance, and the turmoil is the fact that people wanted so much for their land, and then we can only pay a fair market value for it. And sometimes, when I'm being honest about this, because I've done the research and I have to do it all the time, it's the fact that we can only do fair market value. And then when you're not looking above fair market value, then you're hurting yourself, because that's the only section that don't really have any support from a levy system that's there. So when I'm saying this to the public, when we're doing business with the parish, we protected the money as best we could. So we're not gonna pay one person one over 1 cent over what the next person is gonna get. So I want to bring this out there, and I'm glad I was told DOTD, but yeah, funding. If we can just change that word, keep that for $1.4 million in Terrebonne Parish, I can appreciate it. Thank you.
So, Mr. Harding?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Lee, do you have any more? Hit your light.
I echo your sentiments on that, Councilman Harding. If we can figure out a way to reallocate that for a drainage project, I think that we should. That whole area is under pumped with Elliott and Hanson. I've driven down that area a few times at different water heights to see with my own eyes what it looks like. I mean, a lot of those backyards are right there on the swamp, right? And then I think the proposed levee was right up there on the back of the houses too. So I can see why it wasn't universally accepted by some of the property owners. I think we have made, and not me because I wasn't here, but I think Public Works in the past administration has made some efforts or some strides with getting that area under control. But of course, there's always something that we can look at doing.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, because some people had, let's say, for instance, 1,000 feet, 1,500 feet back there. Now the water comes all the way 500 feet from their property. Some of them have it right there in their, in their back doors. So not only did they have water and mosquito problem, they lost a lot of land. So messing up with their hunting and fishing right there. So, all right, thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Yeah, and from the chair, if there's no other lights, it would be very odd to put a forced drainage system within a forced drainage system. That just doesn't normally happen. But that was started way before the Elliott Jones and the Hanson was even well, not a thought, because those have been around for a long time in the Chackahoola Swamp. But in any event, yeah, I represent a lot of Grand Kai on that. I mean, a lot of Bio Black on that same side of the road, and yeah, people have noticed the difference since the pumps have been put in, but then now they've lost a little bit of land. That's just all in the process that this parish is gonna do to what we're allowed to pump down by Corps of Engineers standards based on the entire system. So, and thanks for bringing it up. And yeah, I know not a person up here would mind moving that money somewhere. It's just sitting there doing nothing. So, thank you. All right, item number 2, a motion to accept and ratify the minutes of the Broadmoor Tree Fund Advisory Committee meeting held on Thursday, May 2nd, 2024. Moved by Mr. Hamner, second by Mr. Harding. Seeing no lights, vote your machines. All right, 8-0. Then some of them are not going through for some reason. Item number 4, resolution authorizing the parish president to execute amendment number, skip one, I'm sorry. Number 3, resolution authorizing the execution of change order number 1 for the construction agreement for parish project number 21-Park-66 by Country Sports Park, Boys Concession, Terrebonne Parish. There's a misprint on here. It's not District 7, it's District 6. Moved by Mr. Hamner. Second by Mr. Champagne. Seeing no light, with Kim Chauvin, I'm sorry, Ms. Kim, all right.
Okay, so I'm just wondering, like, it went up again from the first go round, and that's because it's taking so long, or, I mean, what's the need for the change?
Who do you want, Ms. Candace?
Yes.
So it did increase, and if I remember, I'm gonna pull it up for you. If I remember correctly, there was some increase in some days and some increase in some of the supplies to complete it. But let me see if I can pull it up real quick.
And I didn't think about that beforehand. That's okay. I mean, you can get to me
If
later on.
she
Got
can
it
get it
here.
pretty quick. She has all those numbers at the tip of her fingers.
Yeah, there was some there was some deductions because of some painting of some backstops, and the irrigation system. And then there was some part of the restroom floor area that caused some of the increase. And it all is located in the backup
Right.
as to the explanation of
Okay.
that change order.
All
Okay,
right,
thanks.
that's it, Kim?
Mhm.
All right, just a second, let me get some of these off. Mr. Harding?
And the PA box, right? That's what I had, the PA box. Yeah, that's what it is.
That's it?
Mhm.
Seeing no other lights, vote your machines. Eight yeas, 0 nays. Motion passes. Item number 4, authorizing the parish president to execute amendment number 4 to the agreement for DRC Emergency Services LLC to perform disaster recovery, debris management, and removal services for Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government. Moved by Mr. Hamner. Second by Ms. Chauvin. Seeing no lights, vote your machines. Votes 9-0. Motion passes. Item number 5, consider the introduction of an ordinance to authorize the acquisition of property, sites, and/or servitudes required for Boiler Corp. Pump Station Phase C Improvement Project, Parish Project Number 21-DRA-11. Authorize the parish president to execute any and all documents necessary to acquire sites, property, and/or servitudes for the said purposes, to authorize the parish legal staff to commence expropriation proceedings in the event the sites, property, and/or servitudes cannot be obtained conventionally, to declare that the taking, if required, is necessary and useful for the benefit of the public, and to provide for other matters relative thereto, and call a public hearing on Wednesday, May 29th, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. Moved by Mr. Hamner, second by Ms. Chauvin. You had a light? No, okay. Vote your machines? I thought you were pushing. Votes 9-0, motion passes. Item number 6, consider the introduction of an ordinance authorizing the parish president to execute an intergovernmental agreement with the Homo Restoration District to grant a right of access, use, ingress, and egress of the Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government owned by a Terrebonne boardwalk in favor of the district for the purpose of installing and maintaining lighting, and call a public hearing on Wednesday, May 29th, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. Moved by Ms. Chauvin. Second by Mr. Champagne. Seeing no, we do have a light. Mr. Pledger.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to look at, I should take a look at the proposed ordinance that we have in the backup behind the summary. And if we look at the last whereas, The Terrebonne Parish Charter at Section 2-1 requires council approval in the form of an ordinance for the conveyance of any property rights owned by Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government. Can we help me understand? I mean, conveyance, I take that as process of transferring property from one owner to another. Ms. Neal, help me out on that.
Yes, sir. So the ordinance requires, our code requires an ordinance anytime we convey property rights from the parish to another entity. There's not really anything that specifies what type of property rights. So in an abundance of caution, anytime we give someone the right to use property such as a right of use or a right of servitude, we come to the council for an ordinance for that type of property use as well. There was some discussion a few weeks ago that Chris and I had offhand. We talked about possibly coming to the council to qualify that ordinance, which would allow the parish president to maybe give servitudes or obtain servitudes which were gratuitous and nobody really had to spend any money on without having to come to the council. I think that was just we thought that would be a good idea, but left it at that because of all the other work that we had on our plate. So if that's something that this council would be interested in seeing, then we could probably avoid coming to you every time we had to give a servitude for some work that somebody else wanted to do on behalf of the parish.
Okay. And I, thanks for that, for clearing that up with me. But in addition to that, in that same spirit, of abundance of caution, we'll move over to the agreement itself.
Yes, sir.
And it says that political subdivision of the state of Louisiana herein represented by Jason W. Bergeron, Parish President, by virtue of Terrebonne Parish Council ordinance. Okay, that's clear. But then if we drop down to the Home and Restoration District, it states that represented herein by its duly authorized commissioner by virtue of motion adopted by the Board of Commissioners of the district at its meeting held on May 7th, 2024. Who would represented herein is a duly authorized commissioner?
That's going to
Okay.
be, well,
Mr.
not
Learat.
Mr. Learat, but it will be Mr. Nick Abear, who also sits on the Home and Restoration District. He'll be authorized to sign by the board.
Okay, who'd be authorized to sign. Okay, so in an abundance of caution, I mean, I just want to make sure that I'm good with, or everybody's good with the fact that, Mr. Learat, are you still the chairman of the Home and Restoration District?
Okay, hold on just a minute. Noah?
Yes, I am.
Okay, have we had some sort of opinion or whatever, because we do have two, political, I guess, subdivisions. Well, we have the parish and we have the legislative enacted board as the Home and Restoration District. And I mean, Mr. Learat, clearly he's the, chief administrative officer and the president of that board.
Yes, sir. So we did submit an Attorney General opinion request to the AG office, asking him to weigh in on a dual office holding position for Mr. Learat. We haven't heard back from the AG yet, and that's still pending. So as soon as we hear back, we will let Mr. Learat know and let the board know whether or not Mr. Learat should maintain his seat or could maintain his seat. But in the meantime, we're making sure that Mr. Learat's role as the CAO of the parish does not conflict with his role as the chairman of the HRD.
Okay, and I understand totally, but at the same time, I think we, if we don't have to watch and verify and make sure and watch our backs in a sense of moving forward with things. I think if we just pause for a second and slow it down, wait for that opinion to come back, then we can move forward on doing what we need to do with the Home and Restoration District, or if this is what we're going to do. That's just my suggestion, as far as that goes. Mr. Learat.
I'd like to talk about this project from the Home and Restoration District. This is a project to enhance the Bayou Walk with lighting, which has been done very successfully with the Rotary Plaza. The purpose of the Restoration District is to provide public benefit, which it would. I wouldn't receive any personal benefit from this if that's an issue that Mr. Pledger thinks would occur. This would enhance safety and aesthetics of the area, economic development, cultural enrichment, preservation and restoration, cost efficiency, since the parish would not be paying for this project. This would be paid for by a state organization that would be operating under the Local Services Act, which allows for collaboration between public entities to create public good. So it happens a lot. Again, I receive no personal benefit from this. I don't serve as a paid representative on the Home Restoration District. Just want to do something that would be good for the Restoration District. So I would not be signing the agreement. Nick Abear, our treasurer, would. And I think it's a good project. So that's all I got to say about that.
Thank you, Mr. Learett. You want her to go first?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. Ms. Neal?
Just to clarify, so this, because Mr. Leerett's position on the HRD is not in a private role, it's in his capacity as a member of a political subdivision for the HRD. So, and the ethics board would not be, any ethics code would not be triggered for purposes of his role in the HRD and his role at the parish. It's more of a dual office holding role, which the AG's office covers. So we're not looking into anything ethical, and we're looking into a dual office holding position through the AG.
Thank you, Ms. Neal.
And thanks, Ms. Neal. And that's where I was going down that line of thinking as far as dual office roles, because we've had other administrators that have relinquished responsibilities in other areas and things like that just for that. But to what to mention to what you were saying a minute ago, I'm not sure if everybody's read the agreement, but I have to correct you, Mr. Learett, on the fact that the parish won't be on the hook for anything here, because they're not on the hook for putting it in place, but we are on the hook for paying for the lights thereafter it's completed. Am I correct?
Can I speak?
Mr. Learett?
That's correct. This is a build out. The HRD will be building this project, at which point it would be transferred to the parish as the parish's property to maintain. That is correct.
Okay.
And that wasn't my representation I was trying to say. We're paying for the project to build it, and then it'll be transferred over to the parish to maintain and operate, just like the Rotary Plaza with the Rotary Club, as well as some other public amenity projects.
Right.
Yes, sir.
And also in that same spirit there, to try to just clear up some questions that I have as far as the language goes within the agreement itself. How long is it estimated the project should take? We know?
It was on. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Noah.
We'll just leave it on.
It's still being developed. That's why we came to the council first to get the agreement, but it's actively in engineering. I would imagine a project like this would take in the realm of maybe a year or 18 months, but I don't have a concrete answer for that yet.
And then the plan is to relinquish this and just go back to, just, it'll be over with, and this year would no longer be in effect is what the agreement after it's finished?
The intergovernmental agreement?
Yeah.
What are you asking exactly? The agreement would be in effect as in terms of the.
Well, if we just keep going here, I'll get to exactly what I'm talking about, where it says, and I'll jump a couple bullet points what I have here. Once you've given back the,
Yeah.
you're correct, Mr. Amandi, but I'm just making sure I'm clear on the language, and it's for educational purposes, so I understand. That's what's so good about committee meetings. We can take our time and go through it. So the duration, you don't have a definitive date on that. However, you, based on your legislative requirement, you do have to inform us and let us know the project scope and things like that. I'm sure you guys are aware of that. Also, two 2.17 HRD submits plans and specifications for the installation of the lights for the Bayou Terrebonne Boardwalk and design and proposed location for the commemorative plaque referenced in Article 2.7. Now, that's to be approved by Mr. Pulaski, Parish President, or Planning and Zoning Director, Mr. Pulaski, and our Parish President, correct?
Mr. Lerat.
Yes. In the agreement.
And we have the parish attorney. Let me, Ms. Neal.
I may be in a better position to answer
Good.
technically for the actual agreement because I wrote it. If you would
All
like
right,
to direct.
easy
me.
enough.
Yes,
It,
sir.
it didn't matter who answered. I'm
Yes,
good.
sir. Yes, sir. So 2.17 says that before the work on the lighting installation can begin, the parish president and the planning and zoning director have to take a look at it and approve.
Okay. And one last thing, if the parish owns it now, why we don't have it, sufficient lighting or, it doesn't look good now?
I think that the HRD had some funds that it wanted to spend to spruce up the Bayou Walk. And I don't think it was budgeted by the parish for any improvements anytime soon. So the HRD board decided that it would like to use its own funding to do the work for the Bayou Walk and then dedicate the facilities to the Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government when the work was done.
Okay, thank you.
Is that it, Mr. Pledger?
Good.
Just to kind of recap the whole thing, just some points that I wrote down. First of all, the parish is not paying to build this, just like we didn't, just like I'm sorry, I didn't realize we had some more lights. Okay, let me go with the lights first. Mr. Harding?
Yeah, I like attending the meetings and things like that. I can understand Mrs. Pleasure's point because of the position that's being that Mr. Lewitt holds. But for the record, I would like for you, Mr. Lewitt, who chairs that particular commission, could you explain to the people that are listening to us? I know it's a state, it started with the state. It operates here in Terrebonne Parish. And I guess that what it comes to is that the assistance that you have, because I know the liability comes on Terrebonne Parish. It's like, honey, I bought a Cadillac, man, and you have to go get another job. That's one concept to have. But so we don't have much jurisdiction no more than what we're doing right now to accept some of these because we have memorandum of understandings, we have this particular manner of what we're doing. So for the sake of me and a lot of other people, how was it set up and what does it do? HDR.
Mr. Lerat?
So the Homer Restoration District, Councilman Harding, like you said, is a state political subdivision formed by former Representative Taryn McGee to restore the downtown area. It was funded with $2 million to spend on restoration, cultural enrichment, and economic development. Done a couple projects already, one on the Bayou Walk to actually do some repairs. This project in particular aligns really well with the Main Street Master Corridor Plan because it incorporates increased lighting, incorporates bayou activation, incorporates improving inward out. It checks a lot of boxes in terms of what we were recommended to do with downtown to restore it. So we feel like it's a very effective way to spend some money. It's already been proven with the Rotary Plaza. It's actually, we've engaged the same engineering firm to give recommendations on lighting who did the Rotary Plaza, so they know what they're doing. And they did a really good job for us in that, for the parish on that project. So that's what the Restoration District was formed to do, is literally restore that area. And we feel like this project would aid in doing so as the Restoration District.
Which incorporates Park, Maine, from Morgan to Grand Caille.
Correct. So Main Street and Park Avenue, all properties touching from Morgan Street to Grand County Road. Yes, sir.
All properties touching. I think we had said something that we want to go a little bit further down on Grand Collier Road.
As it
So-
stands now,
Yeah,
that's how it
right.
is.
And
Yes.
so the other thing to bring out there and is that with that being said, you got the $2 million. I think we spent $60,000 on completing the walk at one time. So I think kind of get all this together. State funded, we supplemented $60,000 for that particular area. So we would send fund over there. Then we send the money there, but then you have opportunity to get grants. So we don't have any jurisdiction over what y'all do with the grants. What y'all do in Terrebonne Parish as an agreement between Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government. That's the only interaction that we can have as a governing body that have any jurisdiction over the historical restoration.
For public amenity projects like this is very much a collaborative effort. All right, this is us as a restoration district asking for a partnership to do a public amenity as per the, that program I talked about, the Local Services Act. That's the whole point of why it was created, to do things that maybe one or the other couldn't do alone, but together. Right, in this instance, since things aren't budgeted for a project to be built out like this, the restoration district could step in, build it as per the Main Street Master Corridor Plan, and turn it over to the parish, who would have to maintain at a nominal fee for LED lighting, right? So yeah, that's correct, Mr. Harding.
Yeah, so I just want to put it out there, so those thoughts, because oftentimes when we talk about downtown, of course we got other folk that they need to know the information, what we're doing, how we're doing it, how the makeup is, because when we go into the public, whether it's within my district or someone just knows me, so well something is going on and y'all spending money on this and that and the other. So also, could you tell us when y'all meet too?
Yeah, we meet on the first Tuesday of each month at 11 o'clock, right here in this room.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. And
So
please do
Mr.
come and attend if anybody has an interest in the restoration district. Thank you.
Mr. Champagne?
Yeah, as a former member of the Restoration District, so we do have some oversight, not oversight, but we do appoint, I think, 2 positions on that board. The parish council has one, and I think I have one because that majority of it's in my district. I think the parish president has one. So we do have some input into that board. And you failed to mention 2 of the grant programs. Is one's for facade over the buildings, and then there's another one for technical assistance. I think that they can apply for. There's 2 grant programs.
We actually got 3, Mr. Councilperson. We got a public amenity grant for nonprofits. We have a facade grant for private business or nonprofits, and an E&D engineering and design grant for anybody who wants to develop in the restoration district too. So yeah, we got a few different grant programs, and the idea is to complement grants with actual build out projects like a lighting project. So
Is that it? Thank you, Noah. Mr. Pledger?
Yeah, well, Mr. Babbitt, I mean, I noticed that you kind of slam your
No,
elbow
no,
down
no,
on as
no,
if
not
your
at all, not at
committee
all.
meetings, I mean, if we got to spend the night, we'll do that, because we're stewards.
No one has a problem with that, Mr.
Okay,
Pledger,
good
but you
deal.
evidently.
Good
All
deal.
right.
No, just checking, but in I'm just going to address the elephant in the room because nobody never wants to talk about it. I'm good with that, but we have to look at the dots, and that's the only thing that I look at doing that. But you guys do, the Home and Restoration District does have a responsibility, and that's based on legislative requirement of, being alluding to Mr. Harding, what he said a minute ago about letting people know and all that. But you do have to have public awareness and, let the public know what's going on. And it's for myself, I guess, I'm all for us doing downtown, and I hate to sound just keep beating that horse, but of mentioning downtown, because I want it to be great, people passing through, but we're talking facade and all this other stuff with downtown, and, folks pass through and say downtown's great, but let's go down to Bayou, let's go on the other side of town or something like that. That's my biggest thing, and I know this is a home restoration district for downtown specifically, like downtown development and a bunch of other things happening downtown. And, I'm just telling you the way it looks, and I'm being honest about that, guys. That's all. So it's just, I need clarity, and I just want to be clear on, what's happening and how it's happening. Thanks.
Mr. Pledger, all right. Mr. Bergeron?
Yeah, a couple things. One, I want to thank the Restoration District for looking at an opportunity. I feel like this probably wasn't made aware until we've all seen what the Rotary Centennial Plaza has done, right? And so as you see all the light where it is, and we know it's all bright and all, you kind of look over here and go, man, it's really dark over there. And so it's no different than attending a VIP peeling event that Explore Homo put on the bridge and seeing that there's a gap between the boardwalk and that bridge on the Main Street side, and me sending that to our Public Works Department that says we probably need a rail right here. Because like that's something that somebody could fall into, right? Goes back to the lighting that says if the lighting was better, that's probably less of an opportunity. I can tell you that we had this conversation coming in as an administration and trying to make sure that we do everything on the up and up. And so knowing that we came in January, I'd be curious if Ms. Michelle could elaborate on when we made the request and what is the normal turnaround time on these requests. And then kind of that being said, if it would come out that Noah cannot have dual offices and that he's not signing the contract, would that affect the contract in any manner if somebody else is signing the contract? And based on that time frame, I hate for us to hold anything back from happening that could result in better safety for our residents and a better opportunity for economic development and all the things that Mr. Learet mentioned. So with that being said, I would hope we've dotted our I's and crossed our T's, and that that mindset won't stop us from moving forward with a project that I feel like we desperately need.
Ms. Neal?
I cannot remember the exact date that we did send the AG opinion request out to the AG's office. I know it was early on in administration, but I can tell you the AG takes a long time to get back to us. 4 to 6 months sometimes is the waiting period. They're longer to get back to requesting party than the ethics administration is. So we did actually have some semblance of hope from them. They sent out a questionnaire to us in response to our original request for an opinion. That was immediately filled out and sent back. And then we get the response from them that the opinion is still pending. So that's the official response from the AG's office, is that it's still pending. We did make several requests on different scenarios, on in what capacity can Mr. Learet still be on the board of the HRD? Can he be on the board at all on the HRD? And specific to Terrebonne Parish's relationship with the HRD and the contracts that you all want to enter into. So as soon as we get that back, I'll be sure to make Mr. Learet aware, and then he can make everyone else aware of the response. In the meantime, we definitely have Mr. Abear signing contracts on behalf of the HRD instead of Mr. Learet. He, for the most part, tries to stay out of conflicts one way or the other. We talk a lot about it. Ultimately, there will be, once this is approved, there will be a contract between the HR and TPCG as soon as the council approves it. And those are the implications that the AG needs to weigh in on its opinion on how those contracts will be affected by him holding the two offices. But as we stand now, we're still waiting.
Thank you, Ms. Neal. Mr. Bergeron, you have any more? Mr. Pledger, I'll indulge you and give you a light again.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Mr. Bergeron, you put it in a different light. If we got a safety issue, we need to fix it now. Why wait for the home restoration district? I mean, I'm just asking that. If there's something that, that needs, if it's a safety issue for the residents of Terrebonne Parish, to me, that's a fire. that we need to put out. And that's just, my take on it. I mean, I think if we have a safety issue, everybody up here would agree that we need to fix it.
Mr. Bergeron?
I'm just saying that, if there's an opportunity to do something for our residents that is not only a safety issue, but also mention economic development and everything that we've seen the Bicentennial Plaza bring upon, I just, again, it could be another however many months to get this going. And so I just would hope that, and again, and I don't know if Michelle answered it as I see from Nicholas A. Burson in this agreement, and no abstaining from votes and everything else. It'd be curious to see if it is any bearing on this, but, for us to hold this up for 4 months to 6 months when we have an opportunity to do something that's not gonna be funded by the parish. We've dealt with this with the bandstand, and almost didn't have the ability for the bandstand to get built. And then we had problems working on getting the kayak launches to be built. And so I just think our residents are ready, and I just hope that they can see we've dotted all our i's, we crossed all our t's, and it's time for us to move the parish forward.
Good, thank you, Mr. Bergeron. And again, Kim, you had put your light on earlier, you okay?
Oh, no.
Okay, good. Just to recap this, first of all, I want people out there to know this is not being paid for by Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government. It will be turned over to the parish, just like a subdivision is turned over to the parish once we accept it into our particular system. Now, with a subdivision, people are paying for the utilities and we give back services. In this particular thing, it's about economic development. The more people who go downtown, the more people who go to the bandstand and the Centennial Plaza right now brings in more tax revenue to Terrebonne Parish. So in essence, hopefully that covers the parish's cost on it. And third, there is someone else signing for you right now on this, and I know you are abstaining from the vote, so I think it's all above board. With that being said, members, vote your machines. Nine yeas, 0 nays. This does go to public hearing on May 29th. Item number 7, consider the introduction of an ordinance to authorize the parish president to execute an intergovernmental agreement with the Houma Restoration District to grant a right of access, use, ingress, and egress of the Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government owned bridges and walkways near Terrebonne, by Terrebonne, in favor of the district for the purposes of cleaning, resurfacing, and repairing guardrails, and call a public hearing on Wednesday, May 29th, 2024 at 6:30 p.m.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Hamner, second by Ms. Chauvin. Seeing no lights, vote your machines. Vote is 8-0, motion passes. Motion to adjourn by Mr. Harding, second by Ms. Chauvin. Vote your machines. Motion is 9-0. We adjourned. Thank you, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen.
Notice to the public, if you wish to address the council, please complete the public wishing to address the council form located on either end of the counter and give it to either the chairman or the council clerk prior to the beginning of the meeting. All comments must be addressed to the council as a whole. Addressing individual council members or staff is not allowed. Speakers should be courteous in their choice of words, and actions and comments shall be limited to the issue and cannot involve individuals or staff-related matters. Thank you. All cell phones and electronic devices used for communication should be silenced for the duration of the meeting. I'd like to call this meeting to order of the Community Development and Planning Committee. I'll have the prayer and Pledge of Allegiance. Loving and gracious God, help us to keep the common good before us, strengthen our gifts of wisdom and courage and respect for the views of others, strengthen us to continue to work with our leaders, seeking an ever more just society that acts in harmony and interdependence with all creation. In the name of Jesus' name, amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I just want y'all to know the power I got. Y'all see that, huh? Okay. Can you do roll call, Ms. Charlie?
Mr. Trustclair, Mr. Pledger, Mr. Harding, Mr. Rosin, Mr. Amity, Mr. Champagne, Mr. Hamner, Mr. Bowden, Ms. Chauvin.
Here.
Madam Chairwoman, we have a quorum present.
Thank you. Okay. Don't make me mad. No. Okay, number one, resolution giving notice of intent to adopt an ordinance to amend the zoning map of the parish of Terrebonne so as to rezone R1 Single Family Residential to R2 Two Family Residential, Lot 35, Block 2, and Lot 36, Block 3, Henderson Park Subdivision, 237 Henderson Street, Houma, Terrebonne Parish, Louisiana. Edgewood Holdings LLC applicant, and calling the public hearing on said matter for Wednesday, June 26, 2024 at 6:30 PM. Moved by Mr. Harding. Second by Mr. Pledger. Tell me what I gotta do. Members vote your machine. Oh, sorry, Mr. Carl Harding.
Yes, Mr. Pulaski. Hopefully, we through our media and our Facebook page and everything like that, because I have actually had two phone calls representing both sides of this particular thing. So I just want to make mention of that. Hopefully, we can get all the information out there as possible, because I'm expecting some differences at this particular public hearing that we're going to have. Also, I'm making mention, those that have an interest that are out there in the public in this particular area, I would like for them to show up, because it's very, very important. We can weigh our options in that public hearing. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Pulaski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The backup information for this, as well as all the agenda items, of course, is online. So if anybody is interested in finding out more, I would suggest they go there. I mean, we did, at the zoning commission level, we sent out letters to everyone who owns property within 200 or 300 feet of this property, and then posted everything online. So all that information is still available online, so they can go check it out.
Ms. Carl, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Members vote your machines. Nine yeas, 0 nays. Motion passes. On to number two. Resolution giving notice of intent to adopt an ordinance to amend the zoning map of the parish of Terrebonne so as to rezone from R1 Single Family Residential to C2 General Commercial, lots 6 through 9, Block 4, Crescent Pork Edition, 509 Sunset Avenue, Houma, Terrebonne Parish, Louisiana, Southland Dodge Chrysler Jeep LLC applicant, and calling a public hearing on said matter for Wednesday, June 26, 2024, at 6:30 PM. Moved by Mr. Babin, seconded by Mr. Harding. Members vote your machines. 9 yeas, 0 nays. Motion passes. Resolution, number 3, resolution authorizing the parish president to apply for funding from the FHWA Recreational Trails Program for Louisiana, FRTPL.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Hamner, seconded by Mr. Champagne. Seeing no lights, members vote your machine. 9 yeas, 0 nays, motion passes, resolution passes. Number 4, consider the introduction of an ordinance to authorize the parish president to enter into an amendment number 1 to the intergovernmental agreement and lease with Recreation District Number 11 to remove Shady Oaks Park from the agreement and return care, custody, and control of Shady Oaks Park to Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government, and to ratify the original intergovernmental agreement and lease, and call a public hearing on Wednesday, May 29th, 2024 at 6:30 PM.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Hamner, seconded by Mr. Harding. Seeing no lights, members vote your machines. 9 yeas, 0 nays, motion passes. Motion to adjourn by Mr. Pledger, seconded by Mr. Harding. Members vote your machines. 6 yeas, 4 absent. Move on. Moving on. Your turn.
I see you.
Notice to the public, if you wish to address the council, please complete the public wishing to address the council form located on either end of the counter and give it to either the chairman of the council or the council clerk prior to the beginning of the meeting. All comments must be addressed to the council as a whole. Addressing individual council members or staff is not allowed. Speakers should be courteous to their choice of word, in their choice of words. Hand me my glasses, please. Yeah, really. Speakers should be oh yeah, there it is. Speakers should be courteous in their choice of words, and actions and comments shall be limited to the issue and cannot involve the individual staff-related matters or staff-related matters. Thank you. All cell phones and electronic devices used for communication should be silenced for the duration of the meeting. We'll call the meeting to order with the invocation led by Mr. Danny Babbitt and the pledge led by myself. Where's Danny at? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd just like for us to say the Our Father. Our Father,
Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item 1, approval of the co-sponsorship request for the Cajun Preservation Society. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm trying to catch up. Is everybody here?
Mr. Trusclair? Mr. Trusclair? Mr. Pledger? Mr. Harding? Mr. Voisin, Mr. Amedee, Mr. Champagne, Mr. Hamner,
Here.
Mr. Dobbin, Ms. Chauvin. Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum present.
Thank you. Approve the co-sponsorship request for Cajun Preservation Society for the annual Cajun Dance Banquet to be held June 8th, 2024 from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the Municipal Auditorium. This item has been pulled. Item 2, resolution approving the waiver of fees for the use of the Barry P. Bonvillain Home of Terrebonne Civic Center for the purpose of administering firefighter and police officer entrance exams by the Office of State Examiner on Tuesday, October 15th, 2024. Moved by Mr. Danny Babin, seconded by Mr. Carl Harding. Seeing no lights, members vote your machine. 9 yeas, the motion passes. Item 3, consider the adoption of an ordinance to amend the Terrebonne Parish Code of Ordinances so as to set the maximum number of allowable floats to 45 for each organization during parades and to address other matters relative thereto, and call a public hearing on said matter on Wednesday, May 29th, 2024 at 6:30 p.m.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Trostglass, seconded by Mr. Pledger. Seeing no lights, members vote your machines. 9 yeas, motion passes. Item 4, consider the introduction of an ordinance to amend the Terrebonne Parish Code of Ordinances to clarify the intent and applicability of those authorized to use the official seal and delete redundant statements, and call a public hearing on said matter on Wednesday, May 29th, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. Moved by Ms. Chauvin, seconded by Mr. Pledger. Seeing no lights, members vote your machine. Motion to adjourn. The 9 yeas, motion passes. Motion to adjourn, Ms. Chauvin, seconded by Mr. Champagne. Members vote your machine. Good night, everybody. Yes, sir.